Good morning. I'm holding the camera, and today we're going to be installing our Malossi back shocks RS24 and Malossi exhaust system. Probably be two different videos. But every single time that I work on this bike, I find a tool that I don't have and I need to buy. For example, when changing the shocks, you will need a 17 millimeter deep to get into there to torque it. You will also need what's called an oxygen sensor socket. This has an opening here so that you can put it in with the wire coming out like this, so you can torque or untorque the oxygen sensor, which you will need to connect here. What else we have? We have the two shocks, Malossi. We have the Malossi exhaust here. It's a beautiful looking thing. And it's got the plate and the hardware to mount. It looks quite simple. And apparently to do the shocks, we have to take off the oil air filter. So I'm going to replace it with a Malossi air filter. And I will need my filter oil for that. And as a safety, I have an exhaust gasket, just in case I need it. Now, the nice thing about the Malossi is we're not going to need the compression gasket. And if you do use compression gaskets, I got this Yamaha one. This I have for the GTS because she's not getting a new muffler. She's just getting the shocks. So I still have to remove part of the muffler, I believe. So I got a compression gasket just in case. So how do we start? Well, we're going to remove the chrome, and we're going to remove this panel here, and then we're going to remove the exhaust, and then up here we're going to have to remove this section to get to the shocks underneath. And as we come around here, we're going to have to remove this section so that we can undo this bolt, because it will not come out otherwise. So if we're taking this off, it looks like it needs a good cleaning, and we might as well change the air filter to a Malossi one. So we'll get started in a moment. Okay, so here I've undone these four, and this is going to release my side here, and I will remove this, but there's no need for me to take off the top box, in my opinion. I'm just going to slide this out so I can get to the shock underneath here. Okay, so I've removed this and I've put the bolts back in here so I don't lose them. I don't have to take the back part off because I can access the shocks here. Put the gas cap back on. Then I've placed over here my parts. Now, whenever we take this off, it's a good idea to clean the edges here. And we'll clean them all, and we'll add some grease to prevent rust from forming in there. And we'll continue. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is come under here, and I'm going to loosen this bolt that holds the muffler pipe onto the manifold pipe. And then I'm going to remove this one, and under here, and gently shift the muffler to get it off. Now you have to do this whether you're changing the muffler or not. This has to come off to do the shocks, or you won't be able to get to this bolt here. Okay, so here the muffler came off. We have 1, 2, 3 bolts. I just wiggled it off. There it is. That's the compression gasket there, which we have a new one. What I think I'll be doing is taking this muffler and putting it on my wife's GTS because it's in better shape. Hers is a bit rusty. So now we can get to the shock. And if we do one at a time, it won't drop. So we'll do this side first, and then we'll do the muffler. And then we'll do the other side. Or maybe we'll do this and the other side and then the muffler. Well, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I removed this and the shock comes out, and then I'll have to undo up here, and we have to pay special attention on which way it goes in, because you can see that the shock is off to the left here, so we want to make sure that we put this the right way. You can see the shock is not in the center, it's off center, it's this way, so we want to put it back the same way. So first we take this bolt off, which exposes a rubber bushing here. So I'll put this aside, and we're going to take this rubber bushing out, which is we have to remember to put back, and then we have another bolt here. So basically when the shock is on, we had to just pull it off and it comes right down. This other bolt stays on. So now we have the two shocks. Remember, we had this rubber on top with this, so we got a new one here. So this rubber is going to go on top once we put it on, but this rubber bushing has to go here. So we're going to have to take this off and put it here. So I put the shock back on properly. I don't torque it yet. Down here. Okay. And notice which way it goes. Okay. And up here we have to remember to put this rubber bushing back on. And then we shall use the new Malossi, and we have the bolt. And now all we have to do is torque it. Okay, to tighten this, it's preferably to have a 17 millimeter. Mine runs out at 15, so I'm going to use one of these. And basically you can tighten, and I got one of these to hold this. So you basically just tighten it as much as you can, and that's it. So what I've done here is I've undone the screws at the bottom, 3 screws, okay? And I've also removed the air filter because I'm going to change it and clean it at the same time. But once I've removed those 3, if you don't want to change your air filter, you just remove those 3 screws here, 1, 2, 3, and then you can sort of lift it up to gain access to this bolt so you can torque it and remove it. But I'm going to take the opportunity to change the air filter. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the shock here, and we got to keep these bushings because we're going to reuse them. So I'm going to remove this. These are 2 bushings inside, I believe, and they will come off, so we don't want to lose them. Okay, so we want to take these bushings and put them on here. And then we're just going to put the shock right back in there. And we're going to take the bolt, stick it through, and that should be it. Not too difficult. Oh yes, don't forget, we have to take the rubber here and put it here, like we did on the last shock.